Hi, welcome. I'm happy to be here today with Marta Shedletsky. She's a CIAYT. She's a graduate of the Breathing Deeply Yoga Therapy School, and she's recently done a course, which is on our wellness platform for osteoporosis. So we're here to speak with her about that. Thanks for coming today, Marta. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Brandt.
How did you get interested in working with osteoporosis? What made you want to do this opposed to the other 5,000 conditions you could and do work with?
Yeah. So I didn't plan on it. It just happened organically. One reason was that I had osteopenia. So I was over 40 in my perimenopause time. And I got scanned for my bone density. And I discovered that that my bones were not as good as I wanted them to. So that was
Mhm.
one reason. But main reason was that I'm working mostly with women, and most of them are my age and older. So they are in their upper 40s, 50s, and older. And most of them, as a yoga therapist, you work with people, you ask for coexisting conditions so you know your contraindications, you know what to give them, what not, what can
Right.
hurt them, what can help them. And osteoporosis was something that I was hearing all the time. First, I wanted to learn how not to hurt people with osteoporosis while helping them with other conditions. And then I realized while still being in school, when we learned about osteoporosis and how to help people, I learned that yoga can help with osteoporosis and can help in improving bone density and strength of the bones. So when I started seeing more people with that condition and having osteopenia, I just wanted to dig deeper and learn a little bit more about that and started using
Right.
method that we learn at school that's based on Fishman's method.
And we'll talk about that for sure. But I just want to say it's probably not most people, I think, if they get diagnosed with osteopenia or osteoporosis, wouldn't think I have to do yoga. And they would be right because going to a regular yoga class isn't the best idea. So maybe we could talk about that a little bit. And then we could talk about what kinds of yoga you would do with this course or a yoga therapist for osteoporosis.
Mhm.
What do you think of a regular yoga class for somebody with osteopenia and or osteoporosis?
So the regular yoga class, if they know what not to do, they may do it safely,
Mm,
but it doesn't always help in improving the bones. Because the yoga that you do to strengthen your bones it has to be done in a very specific way. And there are many postures that can actually hurt you. So when you know you have osteoporosis, it's really good to learn what not to do. And you can go to a regular yoga class. Again, will it improve your bones? Probably not. It can be safe to do.
you need
Yes.
to learn what not to do. That's
Mhm.
the reason I wanted to ask that question early on is because I didn't want people don't always listen to entire videos. I didn't want them to run out and be like, oh, I'll go to this yoga class and it'll fix my bones. So that's not true. Maybe you can describe for everyone listening basically what the real basic, maybe the study or like the basic premise is of yoga for osteoporosis, like why it would even work and what kinds of things you would do.
So there was very extensive study done, a few of them on yoga, how yoga can improve the bones and stop or reverse, or for some people prevent osteoporosis. Basically, it's based on this Wolff law that says that when you put pressure on bones for longer time, so 30, 40 seconds, then in that place, the bones become stronger. They start strengthening. So the idea is to hold specific postures. So in weight bearing in a very specific way for specific amount of time.
If you're listening and you don't do yoga, or maybe even if you do, you're thinking pressure, not pressure like standing on your arm, pressure like holding a pose, having your hands on the ground, doing a standing yoga pose like you might see anywhere, but holding it for sure.
Holding it. Yes. So alignment is important. So the pressure is put in a very specific
Mhm.
way. And the time is important, that it needs
Right.
to have enough time to actually kick in. Consistency.
So what kind of consistency?
So the small print here, it's all wonderful, but you should do it every day. You
Mhm.
should do it every day. It takes about 20 minutes or so, the whole sequence, the whole exercise. It's not a big ask, but it should be done pretty consistently.
Yes.
However, I just discovered recently, I had my DEXA scan just a few days ago. And my previous DEXA scan was done 3 years ago, and I was doing it. I was working on my bones. I was doing this specific kind of yoga. I was less consistent than I wanted to be. It still worked beautifully. So
Yeah, and I've
much.
seen that in my practice too. I was going to challenge that. I was going to see that in my practice too. So what I've seen, and I don't have a study on this, is that when people do pretty consistent 3 or 4 times a week, they can get results. And what I've also seen in my practice is people who do it once a week for 20 minutes don't usually.
The study that was done, Brand, that the study that was done that showed over 83% of improvement with no big side effects, like no harmful side effects, that was
Unbelievable.
done by Fishman. It's incredible.
Yeah.
He studied people practicing 7 days a week. But also, like, we don't know if 5 days a week works as well
Yeah,
because no
we
one did
don't
a
know.
study. We
But if
know
you're
that 1 or 2 days a week probably wouldn't work. But
so talk to us a little bit about the course you did. So you did a course on this, and what would
mm,
people expect to see in there? What's the basis of it? And how does it work?
okay. So the course is a self-paced course. You get the presentation about how the method works. You learn about osteoporosis, why we are getting it, how the bones work, the basics of that. You know why actually the method works because you know how the bones work. You learn about the lifestyle, a little bit about diet, what helps to build stronger bones, what minerals you need, etc., all the nutrients. And then you learn 12 postures that are the whole system. And you learn those postures. There are videos for every posture, plus explanations, plus all the contraindications. So, people with what condition shouldn't do that posture.
Right.
And those postures are done in 3 levels. Each posture is done on level 1, 2, 3. So basically, most of people at any age or stage of osteoporosis, or even the shape, some people say, oh, I'm not flexible, or I just can't do it. So most people would be able to do it because the postures are done with different. The level 1 is they are done with the chair and different props and a wall.
Mhm.
And then you can progress in a way that you can do it. You can do more quote unquote advanced ways of that posture or not,
Yeah, and
So
that's what I really liked about your course is that it's really well laid out in that way where and I think a lot of people might think, "Oh, I can't do yoga," because they see people doing really hard things and they're on the
yeah,
floor a lot and the floor is hard for you. And obviously, not everybody, people have osteopenia and osteoporosis who do lots of athletics and vice versa and don't do anything. So there's a pretty wide range, but it's obviously most people are older and so sometimes there's things that get in your way, and your course really addresses that pretty well. Like you have this level 1 where you're in a chair, you're using a wall, and it's really, I did it. And I have to say, it's not that hard. There are challenging things because you have to hold for long enough, but it's not something people can't do, even if they're not used to doing these kinds of things for sure.
and I have clients who do this program with me one-on-one or in small groups. And I have people who never done yoga and are in their 80s and they still can do most of it. So
Yeah.
it's pretty doable and also challenging enough for people who need that challenge, who want that challenge.
And I just have to say, I've worked with this some. I think you've done a lot more because this is more of a focus for you. I'm a general yoga therapist, so I know this stuff and use it. And I use it because I don't have advertising out saying, come to me for osteoporosis. But so, like you said, so many people come and then they're like, oh, and I have osteopenia or I have an osteoporosis. Do you want to change that, lessen its progression or fix it? And the look on people's face when they realize that they can do something about it. And that's the main thing I'd love to get out there, even from this talk, right? Is that people don't realize that they can reverse it or slow it down. Or I've seen a lot of people hold it in place, like those numbers don't move, or usually they get worse. For me, I want everyone to think, oh, I can actually do something myself without drugs, without even your food recommendations. It's not these like super drastic
No.
things. Maybe you could talk about that just for a minute. Like what kind of, because I know you have a dietary component, just the information.
Okay.
And what are the basic tenets of those dietary things that people would think about?
So basically eating enough of calcium, proteins, and there are some specifics about other nutrients. But I put there is an ebook that is included in this course, which tells exactly how much of what is needed at what age and gender. So
Right.
how much calcium a 60-year-old woman should take, for example. And it's a little bit about supplementation, but mostly it's about where to get those nutrients in food and also some basic recipes. It's not a cookbook, but it's the ideas, how
Yes.
to
Yeah.
incorporate those. Yeah. So there are some recipes and they're pretty tasty, but it's not about that. It's mostly about how easy it is to incorporate more of the things that are good for your bones without really compromising or like not eating things that you like.
Yeah. Because that's always the fear when people hear dietary
Yeah.
change. And I see it
Yeah.
almost more like you're getting enough of the things you need. You can't ask your bones to repair themselves or stay fit, basically, without giving them the building
Oh, yeah.
blocks. So
Oh,
once you have the building blocks and you put some input into those bones, they're happy to change. And I think a lot of people think of bones as like a static thing where, oh no, my bones are brittle. And they're just kind of imagining an old bone you find on the beach of some fish that died. And those are my bones, but they're alive, right? Like they're alive.
no, the living
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I have clients who start working in their osteoporosis in their 80s
Yeah.
and they're still able to switch. I'm not saying this is like everyone who has like very bad osteoporosis will be able to reverse it, but it's really worth a try.
Yeah.
And I did have people who did reverse starting in their 80s. It's not a typical thing, but I did see it.
Yeah.
So
It's important for people to hear. I've seen it too. And maybe we could end with this. I think what people don't think of is not only you're doing it for your osteoporosis, but all these postures and these holding, they're going to make you stronger. They might improve your mental health. There's lots of benefits to doing
Oh,
these
yeah.
things.
it's
So,
yoga.
Yeah, it's yoga. So
Still doing
mobility.
yoga.
So if you're aging and you're finding your mobility's lessening, you have an osteopenia or osteoporosis diagnosis, and you're like, oh no, this is an excellent place to work. You're going to get a lot of benefits here. So I just really appreciate your course and the work you're doing. I think it's super important for sure.
Thank you, Brandt. Thank you. And thank you for introducing this to more people. And this is very important. In my work, I see many women and men too, who are in their 70s or 80s or 60s, and they don't know they have osteoporosis.
Yeah.
So they don't suspect because it doesn't hurt.
Unless you get a scan or something really bad happens, you don't know.
Exactly.
So it is a great
That's
idea to
right.
get a test at some point because you can
Mhm.
do these simple interventions and live a happy,
Yes.
healthy life. You can come onto our wellness platform and take her course. And there's also links to her there in her private practice. And you can hire her for privates as well. If you're in, Marta lives in Yorktown Heights, correct? In Westchester, New
Yes.
York. So if you're local, you could find her there and meet her. She's a lovely person as well as an expert. So I'd highly recommend it. And thank you again, Marta. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Brandt.